This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
I'm Roby Brock. Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm joined by John Brummett, political columnist with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, occasional sports Twitter critic, and for now, you're an enemy of the state under the Trump administration.
Are you not? Am I the only one here?
I am an enemy of the state too. So
but I'm perhaps
enemies,
greater, longer-term enemy of the state. Yeah.
Let's start with some state politics before we go to federal politics,
right,
as any enemy of the state would do
right.
first, I'm sure. New poll numbers from Talk Business and Hendricks College, we have discovered that Donald Trump is still extremely popular in Arkansas, 60%, to Asa Hutchinson's 53% job approval. All politics is national now, isn't it? Is that our takeaway?
Yes, all politics is national. It used to be the other way around in Arkansas. It also occurs to me that every Monday for the last several months, you and I have sat here and talked about what a disaster this guy is, and people across the state have been watching it and saying baloney or worse.
Yeah, look, I mean, in national polls, his numbers are lower than they were from the election, and in some state-by-state polls, his numbers are lower.
He's in a general plummet. He does have a base, and nationally it's 34, 35, 36%. But the base in Arkansas apparently is 60%. And when you think about it, the concentrations of places where he's opposed, his opposition in Arkansas, I mean to say, is in concentrated areas. Fayetteville, Little Rock, Eureka Springs, African-American areas along the Delta, which means to me that if you get into north central Arkansas or south Arkansas or southwest Arkansas, it's not just 60% out there, like 3 and 4 at least, 75% like Russia more than they like the American mainstream media.
Well, you're spinning now.
Well, I'm taking it to the next level, but you follow what I'm saying.
Well, he got 60.4% of the vote in Arkansas in November.
And
he's still at 60%.
So. And their support for their support for the travel ban.
That's right. 61% said they support
which pretty much tracks his. No, he's the man for rural Arkansas, the man for Arkansas, and it must be it's kind of, I wonder if it bugs Asa Hutchinson. He's doing a good job as governor. It's a Republican state, and yet he's like trailing significantly, well, 52 to 60.
Asa aside, John Bozeman, Tom Cotton, I would argue that you could say Donald Trump is the most popular elected official in Arkansas.
I wonder if that explains why Arkansas's Republican politicians dare not speak ill of Trump. He's the man.
That has a lot to do with it.
He seems to be the man for Arkansas, and what that says about. I stop right there.
That's a good place to stop. Let's move to another poll number
here. I love
here.
Arkansas, and always have. It's my home.
Let's talk about guns on campus.
I hope to be able to stay here. Go ahead.
Because we've had some news later today, as a matter of fact. But we polled to find that 61% approve of concealed carry on college campuses, but by 40 to 38% margin, they prefer local control, that the boards of trustees make those decisions.
Right. Which tells you.
What does that tell you? Which side wins that?
If you put use of guns or carrying of guns in the question, it will be positive. Carry guns on campus, carry guns in church, carry guns to the bathroom
the Capitol
of your choice, carry guns, yes. If you break it down to a matter of local control, then local control will tend to prevail. But it is difficult in Arkansas to design a position on guns that the people would not support in polling. It's
a gun-friendly state is how we describe it.
I was not going to say gun-friendly. I was going to say gun-crazed, but the meaning is the same. The meaning is the same.
What do you make of this compromise that seems to be in the works right now to let this thing move forward? Because it was, in a way, it was stalemated there, where the law might not have changed if they couldn't have compromised.
There's a lot to this. Basically, Charlie Collins' bill to force colleges to permit guns on campus for faculty and staff members who had concealed carry licenses, that was breezing to passage. But then suddenly Jerry May Hutchinson got an amendment on the Senate floor to say that before they could carry guns on campus, even with a concealed carry license, they had to submit to 16 hours of additional training in state police course on special types of incidents. I can't think of the phrase right now. Then it got on the bill, and Charlie Collins was all upset, and I thought that might be kind of a poison pill for the bill, that it would stalemate it and that would be the end of it. But Charlie Collins began to tell me over the weekend that he and Governor Hutchinson had arrived or working on a compromise, and I wondered, why? Why compromise? If the governor's position was he thinks the colleges ought to have the local control, why compromise? And I was told it was because Charlie Collins, as you know, smart guy, this bill aside, important man on tax policy, and important to the governor in general, and so therefore they made a deal. And here's the deal: the bill will apparently go forward now. The colleges will be required to allow concealed carry holders to carry on campus if they want, but they'll have to take the 16-hour training. But the training, but the population allowed to carry guns on campus will be expanded from faculty and staff to students over the age of 25. Charlie wanted all students. This apparently is the compromise. What it means is, for some reason, the governor acquiesced to Collins, worked out an accommodation, and there will be guns on college campuses in September. Jeremy Hutchinson says not so many, because not many people are going to go to the trouble to take this 16-hour additional course. He thinks that's a deterrent. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right. And Charlie Collins, too, relentless, an adjective that you left out to describe him.
He is, and
the Energizer Bunny.
Very much so. A man who's on message, a man who believes what he's proposing, and a man with whom I get along handsomely and respect, except I don't know what's the matter with him on this college guns bill.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk some medical marijuana, and we'll talk a federal issue or two. All right?
Whatever you say.
We're with John Brummett. We're right back after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us. Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
And welcome back. It is Monday, therefore we're talking politics with John Brummett. All right, let's talk about some other poll numbers here. Just out today, our medical marijuana restriction poll numbers. Passed 53 to 47, the medical marijuana amendment passed 53 to 47 in November. There are some legislators talking about restrictions. Right. Can't smoke it, can't advertise it, got to wait till the feds make it a law.
Not even implemented until the feds change their law that makes it a controlled substance.
Arkansans, by a healthy margin, don't want those restrictions.
Right. According to your poll, which is always a good poll, more people think we ought to allow smoking than smoking marijuana for those who are entitled to use it under whatever this system will be when we get it in place. And they're a healthy majority, healthy larger number, doesn't think we should wait for the federal government to change its designation for marijuana before we implement what our voters approved. Those are two proposals by our good friend Senator Jason Rapert,
right.
Who's usually got the numbers on his side in this state, but doesn't on this case. This poll indicates by a reasonable majority, not a great one, but a firm one, the people of Arkansas meant what they said. They think you ought to be able to use marijuana and smoke it, get it, if a doctor says you ought to be able to. That presents all kinds of complications for implementation. It's a headache for the policymakers, but the people seem to be serious. Yep. So we're going to do it.
All right, let's shift and talk another healthcare issue at the national level. Paul Ryan has kind of broadly outlined his repeal plan for the Affordable Care Act. You contend it could do a lot of harm to Arkansas's Medicaid expansion. How so?
Well, what I know about it is based on a New York Times article, which the president would say is fake news.
Correct.
But I happen to disagree
Lay your
with him.
alternative facts out there. I'll listen.
Ryan gave a briefing to Republicans in Washington about the broad outline of where he is moving or thinks they will move on the vaunted repeal and replace. And the thing that attracted my interest was that he, in this presentation, called for significant overtime reductions in Medicaid reimbursements to the 31 states that expanded Medicaid. As you know, that's one of the great fights of modern time in Arkansas, but we have expanded it, and it's been generally a great success for our hospitals and for health care in the state and for the state budget. So I've been asking people in Arkansas government, who have, from the governor's office on down to the legislature, what about what Paul Ryan has said? This is bad. And you know what I'm hearing?
What?
Don't worry about it. He is so far away from passing anything. This thing is going to go through so many mutations if it ever gets done. He's just throwing some things out there to start a discussion.
Lindsey Graham in the U.S. Senate said that Paul Ryan's plan wouldn't get 10 votes in the U.S. Senate today. So, so there is some
there's a
argument to
bigger
that.
story here, which you don't want to go into, but I don't know how if they can ever get this done, because you know how complicated healthcare was to pass the Affordable Care Act. Taking it apart and putting something in its place is more than your talking points. I wonder if it happens in a year or two.
Well,
I really do.
I've interviewed a senator and 2 congressmen over the last 3 weeks, and I have gotten 3 completely different versions of how they foresee all of this kind of happening. I agree with you. I think that they're nowhere close to figuring out the devil in the details, as they say.
Right.
All right, we got to wrap it up there.
Is that the end of it? Okay.
Always good to be with you.
Well, it's been fun.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Always a pleasure.
All right, John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. You can catch his work every day in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Well, not every day, but almost every day. It feels like every day. And you can certainly catch him online at arkansasonline.com. I'm Roby Brock. Thanks for watching. That's all, folks.